You are watching KPVI News 6 Today with Logan McDougall and Melissa Hackney. KPVI News 6, your news source for East Idaho.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Logan McDougall and we'll get to the headlines and more in just a minute. But first, here's Melissa Hackney with your weather at the top.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. We are getting close to the weekend, but until we get there, we are going to cool down a little bit. Today, we'll only make it into the low 70s. 47 currently in Pocatello, 49 in Idaho Falls, 48 in Rexburg. Taking a look at our satellite and radar map of the region, you can see that we did have a little bit of activity overnight that's pushed out. We still have some lingering cloud coverage. For the lower plains, sunny skies, winds 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusts even higher than that, 70 today in both Pocatello and in American Falls. So we're close to 10 degrees below the temperatures we've been seeing the past couple of days, back around our average temperatures. For the upper plain, mostly sunny skies, 70 in both St. Anthony and in Rexburg. We are going to start to warm back up again into the 80s tomorrow, so it's just a one-day cool down. And for the mountains and highlands, we'll have mostly sunny skies, 70 in Driggs, 71 in Soda Springs, 70 in Salmon.
A developing story we're continuing to follow this morning. KPVI News 6 talked with the Bonneville County Sheriff's Office this morning, and they say they are still on the lookout for a runaway teenager. 15-year-old Michaela Fowler was last seen on Saturday. She's 5'1", 210 pounds with short, dark blue hair and hazel eyes. Deputies believe she was dropped off at a truck stop with the intent to hitchhike to another state, possibly in the east, to meet with an adult she met online. If you have any information, you're asked to contact the Bonneville County Sheriff's Office at 529-1200. And officers are still are looking for the armed suspect who robbed the Walgreens in Blackfoot. The suspect's described as a white male in his 20s, about 5'9" and 160 pounds with brown hair. He's wearing a black baseball cap and a dark gray jacket, possibly with striped sleeves. He also had a black Nike duffel bag and was armed with a pistol. If you have any information, call the Blackfoot Police Department at 785-1234. Well, first, there was some pushback from the community that led to a heated debate at a city council meeting, but now construction on a mosque in Pocatello is underway.
Pocatello City Council approved a variance to remodel an unoccupied Mexican restaurant on 5th Street into the new mosque back in February. Project leaders expect to have phase 1 of the remodel, which includes a roof reconstruction and interior demolition, completed by the end of June. Phase 2 of the project includes replacing the parking lot and landscaping the property and should be completed later this year. Coming up a little later on KPVI News 6 Today, we'll have more with leaders on the significance of this project to the Muslim community. And nearly a month after a plane crash took the lives of 2 brothers near Yellowstone National Park, rescue teams have now recovered their bodies. The remains of Robert and Ward Zimmerman were airlifted off Howell Mountain Tuesday. The brothers' plane crashed after taking off from Cody on May 6th. They plan to fly around Yellowstone before heading to Twin Falls. The wreckage was found May 12th, but recovery attempts were delayed because of the avalanche danger. Both men were found in their seats.
The deadline for a local mall to pay up on several years of back taxes is still looming. Now, as we've been reporting, the Westwood Mall in Pocatello must make a payment by this time next week or face major consequences. KPVI News 6 spoke with mall officials, and they say it's business as usual for them and the mall isn't going anywhere. The mall has until June 4th to pay almost $110,000 in taxes, interest, and late fees. If they don't pay, the state could take the building. If the Westwood Mall pays the amount due by next week, they will still have to pay off the rest of the $370,000 that they owe to be fully caught up. Now, coming up a little later on KPVI News 6 Day, we'll hear from the Bannock County Treasurer on how they handle these types of situations. And 4 couples who sued Governor Butch Otter and won over Idaho's gay marriage ban are now asking to be reimbursed for nearly $500,000 in attorney fees and court costs. The group filed a motion in Boise's U.S. District Court asking that the state be ordered to pay more than $467,000 and for expenses associated with bringing the lawsuit. U.S. District Magistrate Judge Candy Dale overturned Idaho's ban on same-sex marriage earlier this month, saying the ban unconstitutionally denies gay and lesbian residents of their constitutional right to marry. Otter and Idaho Attorney General Lawrence Wasden have appealed that ruling. The case is still pending before the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals.
Well, school may be out for the summer, but that isn't stopping East Idaho's teachers from doing a little learning of their own. Wednesday, dozens of teachers attended the Distinguished Voices in Education Summer Institute at ISU. The event is designed to help educators apply and achieve Idaho core standards in their classrooms. Areas of emphasis include planning for student engagement, creating a culture for learning, Idaho core in the classroom, and professional learning. The institute will conclude today. And a gem state business that would let you work out your frustrations by breaking things is now broke. The owner of Breakroom says there weren't enough customers to keep the business going. He wants to eventually move to Portland and open up another shop. In the meantime, he hopes to operate a mobile break room from a box truck.
It's 6:06 and it's graduation time for students in an East Idaho city, but because of limited seating and only a few family members will be able to attend, and in some cases the family won't even be able to sit together.
The problem could have been solved by the proposed event center in Idaho Falls, but after 3 years there hasn't been word of much progress.
KPVI News 6 reporter Phil Campbell has been digging for answers and has more.
There has been a lot of talk.
We have regular meetings. We have an office at the Business Development Center.
But there hasn't been a lot to see yet.
It's just a slower process when you're working as a government agency, trying to work all of the different regulations that we have to work with.
And part of the reason for the slow pace is that they want to get it right.
And we're being very careful. We want to make sure that we do this in the right way, that we build the right facility for the community so that when we are done, it benefits all of our region.
The Auditorium District was formed when 63% of the voters in 2011 approved a 5% hotel tax to fund a new arena. Cindy says money is not the reason for the delayed start of this project.
Actually, we found that our sales receipts are 11% ahead of what we thought they would be for this year. So our receipts are coming in very strong this year, which will help us with building our facility that much faster.
Right now, they're working on securing a land donation for the arena, and they hope to start building it very soon.
We're hoping to be playing hockey in the fall of 2016.
That hockey team will be run by the same group that runs the Idaho Falls Chuckers.
And a scathing new report is out today from the Veterans Administration Office of Inspector General about the scandal at the VA. It details just how long American veterans were forced to wait for care at one VA facility in Phoenix and an alleged cover-up to hide the backlog. According to the investigation, at least 1,700 vets were not properly registered on electronic waiting lists, putting them at risk of being forgotten or lost. It is now triggering bipartisan calls for the embattled VA secretary's resignation. An American poet, Maya Angelou, passed away at her North Carolina home Wednesday. The 86-year-old author and poet rose from poverty and segregation to become not only an acclaimed poet and novelist, but a civil rights activist, educator, and historian. Among her accomplishments, Pulitzer Prize nominations, 3 Grammys, more than 30 honorary degrees, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Funeral arrangements are still in the works.
The City of Houston's controversial Equal Rights Ordinance was passed Wednesday night by the City Council.
It was a heated issue for many as more than 200 people got up in front of the City Council and emotionally expressed their views both for and against the ordinance.
Philip Mena reports.
The ordinance passes 11 votes to 6 votes.
An historic day in Houston as city council members voted Wednesday to pass the highly controversial Equal Rights Ordinance, banning discrimination against race, age, sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity for housing and employment.
This ordinance covers all of those categories. It is a good step forward for the city of Houston.
The decision came after 2 weeks of delays, protests, and more than 10 hours of public comments from more than 200 people on both sides of the issue. While some opponents railed against homosexuality, others expressed fear about allowing transgender people to use public restrooms of the sex in which they identify themselves.
And it's a threat to our wives, our children, and our grandchildren, knowing that our spouses and children may be exposed to potential sexual predators, disguising themselves as transgenders.
Councilman Michael Kubash was one of 6 members to vote against the ordinance.
The overwhelming number of calls that I received and emails were saying no to the ordinance, and so I voted no.
Councilman Richard Nguyen became emotional when explaining his vote.
We have nothing to lose, but much to gain. Let us continue our journeys with love and peace.
And the battle for an airport in eastern Ukraine is not over. Gunfire could be heard from pro-Russian fighters and Ukrainian forces yesterday. Ukrainian authorities say they control the Donetsk airport, while pro-Russians claim to control the area around the airport. The area has been the site of fights for days. Sporadic gunfire could be heard throughout the day, with civilians running for shelter. And Russian President Vladimir Putin met his counterparts from Kazakhstan and Belarus today for the signing of a treaty to create a vast trading bloc. The treaty forging the Eurasian Economic Union is expected to come into force on January 1st. Putin said the cooperation between the three countries could benefit each collectively and independently. It will guarantee the free transit of goods, services, capital, and workforce, and coordinate policy for major economic sectors. Armenia and Kyrgyzstan are considering joining, but other former republics of the Soviet Union, which collapsed in 1991, have stayed out.
In the day ahead, President Obama will host a summit at the White House on youth sports safety and concussions.
The president will be joined by young athletes, parents, coaches, experts, and also professional athletes.
President Obama will also announce new commitments by both the public and private sectors to raise awareness about how to identify, treat, and prevent concussions.
And as you're heading out the door, you can keep up to date on all the latest news and weather with KPVI. Get your headlines and forecasts 24/7 at kpvi.com or on social media with our Facebook and Twitter pages. You also take KPVI with you on the go with our apps for your mobile device.
And here's a live look at I-15 and the Port Neff Valley, courtesy of our Port Neff Medical Center webcam. The cam's a little shaky as we do have some wind out there. Sun is starting to rise. It's going to be another beautiful day, but temperature is about 10 degrees cooler than yesterday. I'll tell you more about that in your weather forecast, which is straight ahead. But first, it's 6:12, and here's a look at your daily planner for May 29th on KPVI News 6 Today.